All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching again. So, I've decided that every Monday I'm going to put a question up or a video up answering a question. And I got my first question in. This one actually I get a lot. It's my right and left legs seem to show a different SmO2. What does that mean? It's a great question and a very interesting question, and one that probably, well, it depends. What does that mean? So firstly, I think the most important thing to realize is that if you're looking at differences from right and left leg, or from or even from day to day on the same muscle, if you're within a 10%, we're going to try to avoid a false positive. So we generally say it's not a big deal. Okay, there might be something there, but we just go on the safe side and say, okay, it's equal. Once you're getting differences bigger than 10%, then we start talking, okay, there's possibly an actual difference between your right and left leg. Now, what I then suggest is look at, well, do you have any other sources of information that are also pointing at this right and left leg difference? So if you can measure power independently, how does the person feel? Does the person have any injury history? Things that would point at, okay, yes, it is very possible that there is a right and left difference. So these are interesting things to look at. So the answer is yes, we have seen right and left differences. And the easiest way to understand that that's even possible is if you put a mox in your right and left leg and you ride your bike with only your right leg. You'll see that on nothing's or very little is going to happen on your left leg, everything's going to happen on your right leg. So yes, there can be a difference between right and left leg. If both legs are working equally cycling, or you're trying to work them equally, and you have a right and left disbalance, that's something that you, once confirmed, you're going to want to balance out. So we don't want disbalances in athletics. So you're going to try to want to figure out why is that happening and how can I deal with that, which is a completely different question. The fact is that right and left balances do exist. We do see them. And it's interesting to look at, and shows you another value of using NIRS to evaluate balances right and left. Little interesting side note. So we work a lot with hockey players too. And hockey players is something also, for example, that we see right and left differences when they're skating, so when they're doing on-ice skate tests. So it's 10 to 20% we see kind of these significant imbalances. When we see these imbalances skating, the process that we go through, first of all, we look at, well, are those imbalances showing up every time we test them? It's just this one time. So every time we test them, the same imbalance happens. The right and the left leg have difference in that variation. So the right leg will be higher, the left leg will be lower. We look at how does that change intensity? Do they even out as intensity gets higher, or do they get bigger? It can also help you look at some differences. Then we look at what happens, okay, the disbalance is there when they're skating, but is it there if they're doing squats dryland? Now, the reason we do that is we can start talking about a potential in the disbalance as a coordination problem rather than actual, let's say, muscular problem or physiological problem. So if you're doing squats and the right and left leg are doing the same thing, you might then assume that, okay, the reason the right and left disbalance is happening skating is because of the way they skate. Which then the next move would be, well, let's get a skate coach involved and let's watch some video footage. Or do you see some skating technique problems that need to be adjusted? If yes, that might be the solution to the imbalance. So it's not necessarily a classical training where we need to adjust the muscle, but it's more the player needs to learn to, let's say, skate properly, so if they're using the right and the left leg at the same time. Just to show you guys kind of an approach on how we use right and left differences. From the skating point, there is a paper published by Cooper and colleagues that looks at imbalances in short track speed skaters. And they also show that there are right and left differences, which is it's nice to see that they're seeing this, because in a speed skating event, short tracking, you're going around the loop in the same direction every time. The way that you push off and skate in the corners is going to be different for one leg and the other. So you'd assume that the muscle oxygenation would change differently, and that's what we see. So it shows that NIRS can really be used in a differentiated way, not just in a kind of a bioenergetics feedback loop, but also you can start getting involved with things like coordination, imbalances, rehab, prehab, things like that. I want to wrap that up, but thank you very much for that question. Again, if something was unclear, you can send me an email and I can try to answer the question again. Please send me more questions and comments, and we'll get another video up next Monday. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.